Hey guys, Greg here. This is a little challenge contest entry from the good folks at Just Imagine Record. Interesting contest being run to celebrate their 100 subscribers. Congratulations on that. This is a nice channel that's run by Trey and Courtney. Lovely family affair, husband and wife and their cute little baby. It's great seeing families in the vinyl community. My family is also came from vinyl because my wife and I met at a record store. Been together ever since. So I thought that was nice. Families enjoying music together. So this is one of the more interesting contests I've seen in a long time because it has a purpose to it. The question being asked actually makes you think about what are you trying to achieve here. Initially, Trey came up with the idea that what records would you play for space aliens who came down to Earth, and what would be the first thing you'd play for them? And at first I thought, well, that's kind of a silly idea. And then it turns out the more I thought about this contest, I realized it's not that silly of an idea because it's very similar to the idea that his wife Courtney came up with. So her contest is, what 5 records would you play for a deaf person who just got their hearing back? And does that have anything to do with Trey's original idea? Well, Trey, at first I thought Trey's idea was kind of silly and dumb. And then I thought about it, and turns out this contest was sort of already run by the smartest people in the world. What am I talking about? Late 70s, the space program, NASA, a big-brained genius named Carl Sagan came up with the idea to shoot a record out into outer space on Voyager. So they actually did that in 1977, and they shot 2 gold records into outer space, hoping that aliens would find them someday, and this would be the first thing they found out about Earth. Little different. Trey said, well, what if they came down to Earth? And they actually shot this record. Let's see, there it is, the golden record that was shot out into Earth. And it has some of the same music on it that I think should be the answer to Courtney's question, what would you play a deaf person? Their idea was, how do you represent Earth to people who don't know anything about Earth? What pictures would you show them? What sounds? What music? They played Bach, Beethoven, Mozart, what's his face? Chuck Berry, some different ethnic music from different parts of the world. They played an hour's worth of brainwaves. Who wants to listen to that? I don't know. But Courtney's contest idea has a purpose, unlike a lot of the contests out there, like, okay, show us 3 records with beverages on the cover. Show us 2 records with the letter L on the cover. So what? Courtney's idea for the contest has a purpose. You have to think about, how do I achieve this goal? And the goal is, I'm showing music to a person who just got their hearing. I'm introducing them to the wonderful world of music in 5 records. So that's actually a very thoughtful and purposeful contest. So Courtney, thank you for taking it up a notch, adding a little thoughtfulness to the VC. So my choices, these are not your favorite records. These are not the best records. These are, how do we bring someone into music, starting with simplicity and getting them to understand music, and then maybe going a little bit more complicated. So I'm starting at the very beginning, super simple. I think you must have classical music in your answer. I just do. Okay, greatest music ever created in the history. We've been listening to the masters for 300 or 400 years, 200 or 300 years. And these are the great composers that have stood the test of time and will continue to be, renowned for decades, centuries to come, even on different planets. So we have to start with the early master, Bach. And where did I put the record? One of his most simple pieces is just for one instrument, the cello only. This is the most recent recording by Yo-Yo Ma of the very famous 6 cello suites. You will recognize them instantly when you hear them, even though you might not know them by name. Super simple, easy to understand. I almost didn't include these because they're a little bit sad, a little bit melancholy, but it's a great way to start hearing sounds that go together and in different pitches and intervals turn into music. So the latest recording by Yo-Yo Ma is called 6 Evolutions. He recorded this 3 times over his career. Pick any one of them. Pick a different cellist, like Pablo Casals. You got to start with Bach. Okay. What else do I have on the list here? I thought that version was good, or that song tune was too, like I said, a little bit sad, but not really. Or Bach, and this is a terrible album cover to a great record, one of the most famous classical records of all time, the Goldberg Variations. This is the famous Glenn Gould version. This was included in the Voyager record Shot Out into Outer Space, an excerpt of it. Glenn Gould is considered kind of idiosyncratic oddball of a guy. So this is not necessarily the best version for a new listener, but when this record came out, it was really groundbreaking and famous. Then they did a reissue with this horrible cover. The original, oh well, there's Glenn Gould, probably in the 50s, I guess. 56, 57, Canadian dude. Kind of complex, but not too complex piece of classical music. Originally written for harpsichord, but you want the piano, not the harpsichord. Okay, who's next on the classical hit parade? Let's see. A guy named Beethoven. You heard of him? And Steve Carlson mentioned this on his video here, and I thought of it before I heard him say it. Not all 6 Beethoven symphonies, but Symphony Number 6, Pastoral. That is a perfect piece of music to show somebody classical music, a symphonic piece, kind of for beginners, kind of a simple piece. Pastoral meaning like out in the countryside, enjoying nature, that sort of thing. This is not necessarily the best version. Ado Klemperer. You want to go with Herbert von Karajan, but this is all 9 symphonies. Do I have to open it up and show you what Symphony 6 looks like? They're just discs inside paper sleeves, trust me. You want to go with one of the biggies like von Karajan or who else? I can't think of the other dude. Okay, okay, that's Beethoven. What did we do? We did 2 Bach. We did a Beethoven. I think that's 3. So let's go for some jazz, but keeping it very simple. Here's a record that I've never seen anybody talk about on the VC. One of my favorites. Super simple, almost childlike in its simplicity. Pat Metheny, guitar player. Charlie Hayden, the great upright bass player. Beyond the Missouri Sky. Pat Metheny and Charlie Hayden and me are all from Missouri. So unlike a lot of jazz, this has a very rural, country, Midwestern feel to it. Very simple. It's not hot jazz, New York City nightclub, drinking and boozing it up. It's very simple folk kind of music. 2 record set, at least on the vinyl. This is really hard to find on vinyl. I'd be surprised if anybody on the VC has this on vinyl. Maybe, but get it on CD, listen to it on YouTube if you haven't heard it before. Very simple, soft music. Spanish love song. I'm going to read you some of the songs. The Moon is a Harsh Mistress, which is a Jimmy Webb tune. Cinema Paradiso, which is a theme from a movie. Spiritual, which was a song written by Charlie Hayden's son Josh, who's not super well known. But Johnny Cash recorded that tune on his American recordings. Jesus, I Don't Want to Die Alone. They do a instrumental version of it. This is all music that is very soft, simple. It's good for young, new ears, and to kind of show them about the, music's cool. I don't think you can throw hard rock and heavy metal and complicated jazz at people who couldn't hear anything yesterday. My opinion. Let's throw in one classic pop record. It's got to be simple. How about Rubber Soul? Rubber Soul, Revolver would have probably been okay too. Two very sort of simpler pop records, but great pop records by, you heard of this band? They're called the Beatles. Norwegian Wood, Michelle, It's Only Love, I'm Looking Through You, In My Life. Simple, basic, beginner music. That's the theme of this video, is music for beginners who haven't heard music before. What would you show them? How do you convince them that music is better than silence without overcomplicating, drowning out their ears with too much noise and complexity and cacophony? We got your Bach, your Beethoven, a little bit of jazz, a little bit of Beatles. Thank you for the thoughtful and interesting contest, Courtney and Trey. Don't forget to subscribe to those guys. Imagine Just Records. Is that a reference to John Lennon? Maybe. Don't forget to subscribe to me. And why am I wearing a cassette 2 days in a row? I don't know. Thanks for watching, guys. And congrats to Courtney and Trey. Check you later.